Hello, this is Michio Kaku. Let's look closely at the evidence. Can you imagine an energy output equivalent to a small star compressed into a terrifyingly brief window of just 47 minutes happening right in our own cosmic backyard? In the last 12 hours, something in deep space doubled in size. It is not a city. It is not a mountain. It is an entire interstellar object. Yesterday, 3I Atlas measured about 2.6 miles across. Today, it is a staggering 5.4 miles in diameter. This is a direct violation of physics itself. Publicly, there is only silence. Privately, there are emergency meetings, canceled missions, and absolute panic behind closed doors. Why? Because what happened to 3I Atlas overnight defies every law of nature we currently understand. The expansion follows perfect geometric patterns. It is powered by energy sources that simply do not exist in our periodic table. And the electromagnetic signatures now pouring off this ancient wanderer match theoretical profiles for technology that humanity will not develop for another century. 3 separate space agencies quietly canceled all missions scheduled to pass within 31 million miles of this rapidly expanding object. Join us as we reveal what really happened during those 12 hours when nobody was watching. We will discuss the energy bursts that blinded telescopes worldwide, the structural changes that turned a simple comet into something resembling a massive space station, and the terrifying possibility that we are witnessing the deployment of technology so advanced it treats our entire solar system as a construction site. This was not natural growth. It was deliberate construction. It happened in the early morning hours, when most of the world was fast asleep. Every major observatory on Earth detected the same thing. 3I Atlas suddenly blazed with infrared radiation so intense it left after images burned into sensors worldwide. Telescopes designed to peer into the depths of space were blinded by light coming from a single point in our own solar system. The heat signature was so powerful, it saturated equipment from Chile to Hawaii, forcing astronomers to shut down billion-dollar instruments to prevent permanent damage. The radiation blast lasted exactly 47 minutes. When it faded, the object that emerged was twice the size it had been hours before. But this was not some chaotic explosion or random expansion. Analysis of the before and after images reveals that the growth followed precise geometric patterns. We are seeing hexagonal frameworks extending outward from the core like massive scaffolding and cylindrical structures emerging from the surface in perfect mathematical sequences. These are angular formations that look more like sophisticated construction than any natural process. The expansion occurred in 3 distinct phases, each serving a specific engineering purpose. Phase 1 involved core restructuring. The first 2 hours saw intense activity at the center of 3I Atlas, with temperatures reaching 5,400 degrees Celsius. But instead of melting, the core was being rebuilt from the inside out, converted into something stronger and more complex. Phase 2 involved framework extension. Hours 3 through 7 involved the systematic construction of geometric structures extending from the surface. These were not natural formations. They were engineered frameworks with precise angles and measurements that followed universal mathematical constants. Phase 3 was system integration. The final 5 hours showed different sections of the expanded structure connecting with each other through complex networks of conduits and communication channels. Each phase generated distinct electromagnetic signatures that radio telescopes recorded in perfect detail. The signals were not random bursts of energy. They followed mathematical patterns that suggest sophisticated engineering protocols operating with clockwork precision. A specialist at the Arecibo Observatory described what they witnessed, noting that the radio emissions during the expansion were not chaotic. They were coordinated and structured like construction crews communicating during a massive building project, but with a precision that exceeds anything human engineering has ever achieved. This was not a comet doubling in size. It was a machine unfolding itself. Now consider the physics of this. The amount of energy required for the overnight expansion of 3I Atlas should have been visible across half the galaxy. We are talking about power levels equivalent to a small star compressed into a 12-hour time frame. Yet until the moment expansion began, 3I Atlas showed no unusual energy signatures whatsoever. Where did that enormous power come from? The answer challenges everything we understand about energy in the universe. Some say it is tapping into the vacuum of space itself, harvesting power from quantum fluctuations that exist everywhere but remain beyond our technology to access. Others believe it is feeding off parallel dimensions, somehow reaching across the barriers between realities to draw energy from sources we cannot even detect. But the most disturbing theory is that it is not generating power at all. It is receiving it. Analysis of the expansion event shows energy patterns that suggest wireless power transmission across vast distances. We are not just talking about interplanetary distances, but interstellar ones. It is as if somewhere out there, something vast is watching our solar system and fueling the operations of 3I Atlas with directed energy beams. That would mean 3I Atlas is not operating independently. It is connected to infrastructure we cannot see, powered by civilizations we cannot imagine, following instructions from intelligences that treat galaxies like construction zones. A specialist in exotic physics who reviewed the energy data under classified conditions described the implications. If something can transmit this much power across interstellar space and have it arrive with pinpoint precision, then we are not just dealing with advanced technology. We are dealing with engineering capabilities that operate on scales beyond our comprehension. This is what we refer to as a Type 2 civilization on the Kardashev scale, a society capable of harnessing the total energy of their entire star. The precision is what makes it terrifying. Every joule of energy was directed exactly where it needed to go, with no waste and no spillover. That is the kind of control that suggests complete mastery of physical forces we are only beginning to understand. If it is receiving power from elsewhere, then we are not just looking at a machine. We are looking at a node in a galactic network. The structures that emerged during the expansion of 3I Atlas do not just follow mathematical principles. They follow the mathematical principles that govern everything in the universe. We see golden ratio spirals, Fibonacci sequences, and fractal geometries that repeat at every scale, from microscopic to massive. But these are not aesthetic choices. Each geometric pattern serves a specific engineering purpose that becomes clear when you analyze the physics involved. In advanced astrophysics, we hypothesize that hexagonal frameworks provide maximum structural strength with minimum material usage, similar to how bees build hives, but on a cosmic scale. The spiral formations optimize electromagnetic field generation, essentially acting as a dynamo. The fractal patterns serve as massive antenna arrays capable of receiving and transmitting signals across vast distances with perfect clarity. It is as if whoever designed 3I Atlas understood the fundamental mathematical structures of reality itself and incorporated them into engineered perfection. But during the expansion event, 3I Atlas was not just building, it was talking. Radio telescopes detected structured electromagnetic transmissions throughout the 12-hour construction sequence. These were not random signals. They were organized communications following protocols that make our satellite networks look like children's toys. The signals operated on multiple frequencies simultaneously, carrying different types of data with error correction systems that guaranteed perfect transmission accuracy. But the most significant discovery was who 3I Atlas was talking to. The transmissions were not just going out into space, they were being answered. Other sources throughout our solar system were responding with confirmation signals, status updates, and coordinate data. Objects we had cataloged as ordinary asteroids and space rocks were suddenly revealing themselves as part of a coordinated network. And the worst part is that those signals were not broadcasts. They were replies. Signal analysis reveals that 3I Atlas was receiving construction instructions during its expansion. These were real-time updates telling it what to build, how to build it, and when to proceed to the next phase. It is as if the expansion was not autonomous, but was being directed by an intelligence located far outside our solar system. The coordination was perfect, despite signal delays, that should have made such precision impossible. Instructions sent from interstellar distances arrived at exactly the right moments to guide construction processes that required split-second timing. It was not just building, it was following instructions. High-resolution imaging of the expanded 3I Atlas reveals the most disturbing truth yet. This is not just a machine, it is infrastructure. The internal architecture includes pressurized compartments, with dimensions scaled for beings approximately 10 feet tall. There are environmental systems that maintain atmospheric compositions toxic to humans, but potentially habitable for other types of biology. But most chilling are the docking ports, facilities sized for vehicles much larger than 3I Atlas itself. It is as if this expanded structure is designed to receive visitors from elsewhere. Entire sections seem larger inside than outside, like space itself is being rewritten according to principles that violate our understanding of geometry. There are support structures that carry impossible loads through mechanisms we cannot identify and power systems that operate without any visible fuel source or energy input. The expanded structure also contains manufacturing capabilities that suggest preparation for major operations. We see fabrication chambers that can produce complex components from raw materials and assembly areas equipped with automated systems designed for continuous production. But the manufacturing is not random. The production facilities appear optimized for creating specific types of equipment. These are components that match no known human technology, but follow design principles consistent with the advanced engineering visible throughout the expanded structure. 3I Atlas is not just built for observation or research. It is equipped to manufacture whatever its operators might need for an extended presence in our solar system. This aligns with the theory of von Neumann probes, machines designed to arrive in a star system, mine local resources, and build copies of themselves or other infrastructure. A structural engineer who analyzed the expansion imagery described the implications. The load-bearing calculations alone suggest construction techniques centuries beyond our capabilities. But the real concern is that these structures are clearly designed for occupation by intelligences that are not human. The timing of this revelation suggests that 3I Atlas has completed its transition from passive reconnaissance to active deployment. Whatever it was sent here to accomplish, the stealth phase has officially ended. NASA's official silence about the expansion of 3I Atlas is not bureaucratic caution. It is evidence of response protocols developed for exactly this scenario. Classified documents reveal that major space agencies have been preparing for decades to encounter artificial objects of unknown origin, demonstrating capabilities far beyond human technology. And the recommended response: observe but never engage. The protocols are based on a sobering assumption. If we are dealing with technology advanced enough to travel between stars and operate autonomously for millennia, our defensive capabilities are essentially meaningless. Analysis of the expanded structure reveals capabilities that suggest multiple possible mission profiles, none of them reassuring. First, industrial extraction. The manufacturing chambers could be designed to strip mine our entire solar system, processing planets and asteroids into refined resources for shipment elsewhere. Second, scientific observation. The sensor arrays and communication equipment could support a comprehensive study of everything in our solar system, including a detailed analysis of human civilization and our technological development. Third, strategic positioning. The location and capabilities suggest 3I Atlas could serve as a staging area for operations throughout the inner solar system with the ability to manufacture and deploy additional assets as needed. But the most concerning possibility is that this expansion represents preparation for something much larger. The docking facilities can accommodate vehicles far larger than 3I Atlas itself. The communication arrays are designed to handle traffic volumes that suggest coordination with multiple other assets. The manufacturing capabilities are scaled for production levels that indicate major construction projects throughout our local space. A former aerospace executive familiar with classified response protocols described the situation perfectly. The planning documents acknowledge a harsh reality. We are preparing responses to intelligences with technological capabilities we can barely comprehend, let alone counter. The expansion has triggered the highest levels of these response protocols. Military satellites have been repositioned for continuous surveillance. Deep space networks are monitoring for additional signals. There are emergency meetings at classification levels most officials do not know exist. Even billion-dollar corporations have quietly activated survival plans, knowing humanity's control of space may already be over. But perhaps most telling is what is not happening. No attempts at contact, no probes sent to investigate, no public statements beyond generic acknowledgments of anomalous readings. Our best defense is not weapons, it is silence. The overnight doubling was not the end of the transformation of 3I Atlas, it was just the beginning. Current observations show that the expansion continues at a steady, measurable rate, approximately a 2% increase in diameter every 24 hours. At this rate, 3I Atlas will be 12 miles across within 6 months. At this pace, it could rival a small moon before we even understand what it is. But the expansion is not just about size. Each day brings new structures, new capabilities, and new evidence that 3I Atlas is preparing for operations on a scale that dwarfs anything in human experience. Recent observations have detected the emergence of what appear to be launch platforms, facilities designed to deploy smaller vehicles throughout our solar system. The manufacturing capabilities continue to expand with new production lines coming online daily. Most concerning are the energy systems. Power generation continues to increase without any visible fuel source or waste products. This is technology that appears to violate fundamental principles of physics while operating with perfect efficiency. The communication arrays grow more sophisticated each day with new antenna configurations that suggest the ability to maintain real-time contact across interstellar distances. It is as if 3I Atlas is reporting its progress to controllers located many light years away. But the expansion shows signs of adaptation to local conditions. New structures appear designed to take advantage of solar radiation patterns, gravitational influences, and resource distributions specific to our solar system. It is as if 3I Atlas has been studying our environment and optimizing its growth for maximum effectiveness within the unique conditions it found here. A specialist in space-based engineering stated that what we are watching is not just growth. It is the deployment of infrastructure designed for a permanent presence. This represents the establishment of a major installation that could support operations throughout our solar system. There are no signs that the expansion will stop. There is no indication of limits or completion criteria. 3I Atlas appears designed for continuous growth, constrained only by available resources, and in a solar system rich with asteroids, moons, and planets full of raw materials, those constraints may be theoretical rather than practical. At this rate, in a few years, it will not just rival the moon, it will eclipse the very cities we live in. The transformation of 3I Atlas represents the end of human dominance in our own solar system before it ever truly began. We are no longer alone. We are no longer the most advanced intelligence in our local space, and we may no longer be in control of our own future. The expansion proves that our solar system now hosts technology operating on principles we do not understand, deployed by an intelligence we haven't encountered for purposes we can only guess at. But the guesses are not reassuring. The manufacturing capabilities could support resource extraction on a scale that transforms entire worlds into raw materials. The communication networks could coordinate operations across multiple star systems simultaneously. The energy systems could power projects that reshape solar systems according to alien specifications. These are purposes so foreign to human thinking that we lack the conceptual framework to understand what we are witnessing. But perhaps most disturbing is the evidence that this is not unique. The sophistication of the design of 3I Atlas, the precision of its operations, and the flawless execution of its expansion suggest technology that has been refined through repeated use. Somewhere else in the galaxy, other solar systems may have witnessed similar transformations. Other species may have watched helplessly as their worlds were converted into infrastructure for purposes they could not comprehend. We are not the first, and we will not be the last. The expansion continues, the capabilities multiply, and humanity watches from the sidelines as our solar system transforms into something unrecognizable. The age of human dominance ended before it ever really began. But the most chilling realization is not what 3i Atlas is doing now. It is what comes next. The docking facilities suggest this is just the beginning. The communication networks indicate coordination with assets we have not detected yet. The manufacturing capabilities are scaling for projects that could span decades or even centuries. 3i Atlas doubled in size overnight, but what it is becoming will change everything forever. The question is not whether we can stop what is happening. The question is whether we will survive to see what our solar system becomes when the expansion finally serves its ultimate purpose. Because when 3i Atlas reaches planetary size, it will not just change our skies, it will decide our future. Here is the lesson we must take from this. We have spent our entire history believing we are the main characters of the universe, comfortably sitting in the center of the stage. The reality of 3i Atlas teaches us a lesson in cosmic humility. We are like ants living on a construction site, unaware of the skyscraper being built above our heads until the shadow falls over us. We must stop assuming our physics is the limit of what is possible and start preparing for a universe that is far more crowded and far more advanced than we ever dared to dream. What do you think is the true purpose of 3i Atlas? Is it a guardian, a miner, or a conqueror? Let me know your personal theories in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe so you do not miss the update when 3i Atlas reaches planetary scale.